Justice Stephen Breyer has announced his retirement. Now, as a result, President Biden has said that he will nominate a black woman to replace his seat on the court. This has white Republicans losing their minds. Let's talk about it. So Justice Breyer did announce his retirement, and let's be honest, he is getting up there in age, and he has earned his retirement. But because President Biden has gone ahead and said that he will nominate a black woman to be Supreme Court Justice, people are just losing their minds. They're acting like this is an unprecedented act, that no one in the history of ever has done something like this. That's a lie. Let's take a look. The first case was with Ronald Reagan. Before even getting elected to office, he promised to nominate a woman to the court if elected. That gave us Sandra O'Connor. After that, George H.W. Bush had the opportunity to replace Thurgood Marshall, the first and at that time the only black member of the court since the court came into existence. What did we get? We got Clarence Thomas, who apparently has issues with pubic hair on his soda and ethical issues with his wife. The nomination itself, the press secretary for President Bush kind of let it leak that they felt it was appropriate to replace the first black Supreme Court justice's seat with another black justice. Then they did do some sidestepping, backstepping, and all kinds of stuff. But let's face it, they did go ahead and replace a black justice with a black justice. Now, most recently, we had Donald Trump, who, upon Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death, announced that he would nominate a woman to be Supreme Court Justice. That gave us Amy Coney Barrett. All three of these presidents who have made these decisions based on race or sex previously were Republicans. And who would have guessed it? Republicans never had a problem with it. Now, the President Biden is making a similar statement and promise to make the court look more representative of the nation as a whole. Republicans are up in arms. Who would have guessed it? So this is like a double whammy. Biden's promising a woman and a black person, all in one package, to be the next Supreme Court Justice. What suspects do we have coming up? So for our first suspect, we have Ted Cruz. And what did Teddy have to say? He said, black women only make up like 6% of the American population. If you're in the other 94%, tough luck. If you're a white guy or a white woman, you're just not qualified. You don't qualify. You're just out of luck. I think Ted, in this case, is just as detached from reality as when he left the state of Texas in the middle of a storm where everyone was out of power to go on vacation and get away from the cold. He doesn't give a fuck about Americans or about Texans or anybody else. Let's be brutally honest here. Then we have jackasses like John Kennedy. He said he'd rather have a jurist who knows the difference between a law book and a J. Crew catalog. A dig at women. Good misogynistic quote there, John. He went on to say he'd rather have somebody who's stuck to the Constitution rather than trying to go and on every other Thursday rewrite it with some woke agenda. So, yeah, you're really getting close there to being the winner of the asshole lottery when it comes to the Supreme Court pick. Aren't you, Mr. Kennedy? And you've also got Roger Wicker from Mississippi, who said, ultimately, the pick from President Biden will be the beneficiary of affirmative action. Yeah. Nice racist jab there. And let's move on. And then if we look at right-wing talking heads like Tucker Carlson, he brings up that President Biden didn't mention things like qualifications to sit on the bench, and that perhaps George Floyd's sister would be the next pick because she is a black woman. Good job there, Tucker. Way to forget the fact that that's not how Supreme Court justices are picked, and way to show what a racist fuck you really are. So through this whole thing, almost all Republicans sitting in office that you can think of are really going out of their way to just have a total aneurysm. And, well, we can't say they've lost their senses because they were lost a long time ago, but they're acting even crazier than they have been. I will give credit where credit is due, and I hate to do it. At least Lindsey Graham did say he supports the idea of the court being representative of the actual population. So we'll see if he actually votes that way when it comes time. But I'll give him credit, at least up front. He's saying he supports this because it is representative of our population. Let's be truthful here. The Supreme Court, up until not that long ago, was not at all reflective of our population. It was 100% a bunch of old white dudes for a time wearing funny wigs and funny dresses, and then, moving forth from that to the point where we finally got a black justice, I believe in the 60s, and then we started getting some women on the court, even though people had a cow over that. But the court should be reflective of the society that we live in, both ethnically and politically. We're not there now because 2/3 of it is made up of right-wing nut jobs. With the exception, I will give the Chief Justice Roberts a little bit of credit because he does tend to be more moderate and vote where he thinks he should. But let's face it, all of Trump's nominees probably never should have been nominated to the court. So through all this, you see so many right-wing heads exploding at the idea of a black woman, two things that Republicans don't really like, blacks or women, being nominated to the court all in one package. And I tell you, in all honesty, it is amusing to almost see their heads exploding like that scene in The Kingsman. It is hilarious watching these. They're not even closeted misogynists and racists. They are out in the open about it with the way they act. And I'm telling you, if this doesn't let you know that these representatives have no business being in office, and perhaps that the people that elected them are also equally as heinous as individuals, then nothing will clue you into that. Anyway, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe down below. Ding that bell to get notifications when new videos come out. And we'll catch you next time. Have an awesome week.